The biological machinery of a newsroom is unique. I remember the first time I was ever invited to a newsroom. It was in Kansas City at PBS. After doing a video they liked, they invited me in. And I remember encountering a man who had won a Pulitzer Prize for the Kansas City Star, which Hemingway also worked at before becoming Hemingway. And I remember being quite impressed at the caliber of these people that had won awards, as I was just some, weasel off the streets. And they were very kind and nice, but it was a relatively small newsroom. As I moved to New York and encountered larger newsrooms, I got to take a temperature of some common themes. One of the themes I think most of anybody watching this could surmise is that by and large, a newsroom is made up of liberal-minded people. The only distinction I would make, perhaps, is that your junior reporters and producers are both fiscally and socially liberal, but as you climb perhaps the newsroom hierarchy, you might find more elder statesmen or stateswomen are perhaps fiscally conservative, although socially liberal. Although in fairness, I've never worked at a perhaps explicitly conservative outlets like, let's say, Daily Caller, where there may be more socially conservative reporters as well. But by and large, the only distinction would be between fiscal and liberal, fiscal liberalism and fiscal conservatism. Everybody is socially liberal. That might also be a sampling bias of living in New York City, although newsrooms in the Midwest seem to be that way as well. I think it's partly just the industry itself. The other thing you notice after working in a variety of newsrooms is that, by and large, most of the news is event-driven. And when I say event-driven, because news inherently is uncertain, but a product must go out anyway, a lot of meetings are held between producers and editors and reporters, they're kind of general news units, about events, upcoming events, whether that be Pride Month or South by Southwest or the G20. And once those events, are planned, a newsroom will meet and think about how they want to cover it. And they'll strategize and, assign people to go recover it. But newsrooms across the United States do this, and it's why you get relatively the same coverage on relatively the same things at the same time across all media outlets in the United States. It's because most corporate news, and when I mean corporate, I don't mean it in a negative sense other than a reporter or any sort of news unit working for a corporation, a large company. It's event-driven, and it naturally defaults to being event-driven because that's a way of lateralizing, scheduling the news. You just base it around the events that are upcoming. And so a lot of news is really just about meetings and then going out and following through on what you were assigned or pitched in your meeting about the event. That and the other half, I would say, of the newsroom is devoted to kind of the infotainment side of news, whether that be a latest technology product or, a little question about a changing law at the state level or the city level. Like we went out in the street to ask people about the new water law or the new change in restaurants. And these make up the bulk, 85%, of any newsroom day-to-day operations. The investigative reporting that everybody thinks of and glamorizes in life as they come up to be a reporter is really done, from my observation, outside the newsroom. Many times the investigative reporting is done by an individual who's not directly employed by that media outlet, but then pitches the story either full sale or partly finished to the newsroom, and they buy it. So they decide to publish it behind the, basically the media outlet acts as a distribution channel for that reporter, although that reporter is not really technically on the pay scale of that media company. And you find this at modern digital media companies like BuzzFeed News and Vice to the New York Times or the Daily Beast or whatever it may be, that often the true investigative pieces are done by individuals that are then selling their stories to these news companies that are really just acting like publishers. They're just distributing the media out more than creating it themselves. That's specifically for investigative reporting. And I think that's partly because it's very hard to find things to investigate. It requires a certain personality, and even then, that individual has to be interested enough in that subject to pursue it. It's hard to assign investigative work if the reporter you're assigning is not knowledgeable on the topic or that interested, they won't know where to investigate or what questions to ask. But you can base your reporting around events. And that's the standard temperature of most newsrooms. That's what it's like day to day. It's mainly meetings, planning around events, pitching ideas on these events, or getting told assignment desk, and then going out and executing on them. That is the perhaps less glamorized but true story of the day-to-day operations and biological machinery of newsrooms. Something to think about. Hopefully you found that interesting. If you want to watch another video, you can click here. I should actually embed the video once in a while. I get so lazy at the end. On the sidebar, how about that? If you want to watch another video, you can go to the suggested. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you found this entertaining at all or informative. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.